Hey, good morning. My name is Scott Jarrett, and you're probably already wondering what the hell is he doing on here because he didn't turn in an application and I didn't, and I'm not going to. But I'm doing this for my son. He's 26 years old. He lives near Chicago in Elk Grove Village. His name is Trent Jarrett, and we talked over the weekend, and he's like, "Dad, I didn't finish that video. I did so much on that application, but I never finished it, and I'm not gonna have time. The deadline is tomorrow." And I'm like, "God, that would have been really awesome." And he really wanted to do this. So I said, "Well, I got a little bit of time. It takes me an hour to drive into work each day. I live in the Atlanta area, so I said, okay, I'll risk my life in the morning and I'll do a video while I drive into work and see if it will even be acceptable." So if you want to know more about Trent, you can read his application, and then you can look online and you can find him on YouTube, Trent Jarrett. You can find him on Facebook, Google him. But let me tell you a little about Trent. Trent, as a dad, obviously I can't be more proud of him. He's been an awesome, somebody I don't deserve. Trent was born with a couple of disabilities. He was born deaf in his right ear. And being deaf in your right ear, you might think, just one ear is not big of a deal. And it wasn't. He compensates for that pretty easily. But I can't tell you how many little soccer games he got yellow cards and thrown out of because he couldn't hear the whistle. He was in swim meets, and his reaction time was really bad because he couldn't keep up and hear the sound when to jump in the pool. Sometimes he'd still win. But then there were times when he almost got run over by a car because he couldn't hear mom and dad yell at him, and he didn't hear the car coming. That was kind of scary. But he compensated for that really well, and one way he did so is by making really good eye contact. I have to watch it. He can read my lips at a distance from across the room, and he can't. He could his teachers, his coaches, and also he makes really good eye contact. I can't tell you how many times other adults have come up to me and my wife and said, there's something about Trent. He's so interesting. He's so mature that he will just look at me straight in the eye and talk to me. He has such great eye contact for a 6, 7, 8-year-old kid. And we're like, you don't know this, but the reason he's looking at you in the eye, because that helps him compensate, and he helps him understand what you're saying by reading your face and reading your lips and watching your expression. But another thing that Trent grew up with is that something that we found out a little bit later when he started going to school is that Trent is dyslexic. And I know if you've heard, I know people are dyslexic. I know a lot of people kid around and say, "Oh, when I misspell a word, I must be dyslexic." But 1 in 5 people are technically, medically dyslexic. And Trent is one of those. He is pretty moderately dyslexic. School has not been easy for him. But thankfully my wife's a public school teacher, and she just wasn't going to have any of it. And she said, you're going to do the grades, what we expect, and perform the way that we know that you're possibly capable, and we'll find a way. And so Trent got pulled out into special ed during the day at school. He went, had tutors on the weekend when he needed to. He didn't engage in a lot of after school extracurricular activities because he was studying or doing his work, etc. And there was a lot of frustration. There were times that he'd come home and crying and say, when am I going to be cured? When am I going to be finished? When am I going to be done with this? And we're like, dude, it's going to be the rest of your life. You're just going to have to work with it. So he overcomes things, and he finds a way to overachieve, and he did, elementary school, to middle school to high school. He started finding a way to make it work by staying after, asking more questions, spending more time doing homework, knowing that even though he started the class, not having a clue what's going on, he knew eventually he'd clue in. But also when he was 7 years old, he found the love of his life, and that is gymnastics. He started competing and training in gymnastics, and we didn't know where it would take him. I mean, quite honestly, as a parent of a dyslexic kid, we were afraid that he might forget his routines and not be able to do them, but that wasn't the case. It kind of fit really well. He was always a short, little, strong kid anyway, but he started excelling really fast. And he wasn't always the best kid on the team, but he was always noted to be like the hardest worker and the kid with the most passion. And he stayed with it. So he had that opportunity to be with kids that didn't know he was in special ed, didn't know that he was getting pulled out of class, that he had a learning disability. He was just a normal kid with all the boys on the team. And we traveled across the country competing, and he kept moving up in the rankings. And he got to be a kid in high school, and he started being recruited to go to college. And we're like, oh my God, this is awesome, but even if he's good athletically, can he achieve it academically? So we got special help. He luckily did amazingly. God granted him a huge high ACT score, and he applied for 5 colleges that were recruiting him for gymnastics, and he was accepted at all of them. But and we couldn't make up our mind, but he ended up at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And one of the reasons is they had a really good learning disability program. And also he wanted to study anthropology, and they have a really good anthropology department that's connected to all the great museums in Chicago. So he went to UIC, and it was close in the beginning. We're like, oh gosh, we don't even know if he'll make the grades to be eligible to compete, but he did every single semester. He even made Dean's List one semester. I don't know how, but obviously he made the team. He competed in every single meet since his freshman year through his senior year. They didn't miss a meet for sickness, for injury, academic reasons, or anything else. And that was truly amazing. And even though we lived in Georgia, we tried to make as many meets as we possibly could in Chicago and some of the away meets. And in his senior year, he was elected team captain. He was also given a senior award, some scholarship money that we truly needed. And also he had the opportunity, he filled out an application on Lark, and he got invited to be on American Ninja Warrior. And even though he made it on the show, he never practiced, ever. Because his coach kind of forbade him from doing that, because he's like, gymnastics comes first. I'll agree to let you be on the show, go film, take time off to do that, but you gotta stay gymnastics first. And he did. But he went to the show, they filmed it, it was awesome. Even though he'd never practiced, he made it through the 5th obstacle. We thought there's more to it. So after he graduated college, he continued to work on his obstacle course training. And now he's into rock climbing. He's an incredible golfer. He does all kind of crazy things. He even got spotted, was asked to be a model for a gymnastics apparel company to wear their uniforms and things like that. And that was the easiest money he ever made. He had to stand around and be a gymnast, what he is. But we miss him a lot. He lives in Chicago. We live in Georgia. We try to see him as much as possible. He really had a hard time. My wife went through chemotherapy for breast cancer his senior year in college, and it was really tough on him because he couldn't come home. There are many nights that it was kind of a sad telephone conversation. But he got through it. We all got through it. My wife's doing great now. But and that actually, he gave her something to look forward to. She set goals to meets that she wanted to attend, that she wanted to achieve. It kept healthy because of that. So we attribute some of her medical success due to Trent. But anyway, I'm making this awfully long. I know that you want to check Trent out. I hope you do. I hope that you want to see what kind of dude he is, and how awesome he would be on the show, because I think he would be amazing. Yeah, at 5'2", people call him the Pocket Hercules because he's so strong. He just started dating a girl he met on Catholic Match online, and I don't know where that's going, but we're pretty pleased. He's a hard kid to please. He's a hard kid to he's got really high standards, and we thought he would never meet anybody, but he has, and we're all excited about that. But I want this to be a surprise for him. I would love for you guys to look at this video and say, okay, that dad's, you know, over the top and kind of crazy, a weirdo, but, you know, let's go ahead and check his son out and see if he's somebody that we could use for the show. And if he is, I would love for you to do that and just give him a chance, okay? And he would be thrilled to know that he's still in the running to do this. So I'm gonna get access to his information, and I'm gonna submit it for him with this video, as awful as it is. And thank you so much. Please consider Trent Jarrett. Yeah, I don't think that you'll be disappointed. Thank you. Bye.